Hello and good evening. If you're watching this, uh, I'll give you the time, or maybe not. 22:22. Oh, 10:22 is the correct time. So if you're watching it, then it's incorrect. You're watching a pre-recorded broadcast. Anyway, I wanted to come on. I'm normally on with an electric guitar, a cat, maybe. I'm showing you some birds. But I have an issue which has been plaguing my mind, and ever since, Israel went in and did what they did in Gaza. I mean, I've been watching this. I'm old. I'm old. Not old, like Willie Nelson, but I'm old. I got two more olds to get there to where Willie is. I mean, you're old when you get 50, and you're old when you get 60, and you're old when you get 70. So I'm near old. And Willie, he'd be old. He gets around good. But yeah, you like back when Willie Nelson started, back in the 50s, you can look up on YouTube, you'll see Willie. He's there, slick back hair. He's got the full country, how they put all the glitter on him. He's just, regular cowboy image. And, back then in the Middle East, things were, kind of starting to get iffy. And a whole lot of politics in the Middle East changed during that period of time. And but the one thing about Iran is that Iran was the most religious of them. And I mean, they look to the Ayatollah as the supreme leader. And you don't realize what the supreme leader is. The average person does not. I have been watching this all of my life. I have listened. I have a knowledge of what's going on from the taking of the hostages at the American embassy, and how quietly behind the scenes the Republican Party got them released in order to be heard. And that same president and party then gave the Iraqi people the means and the backing to go in and fight Iran. So, in the early 1980s, you go back and check me on this. In the early 1980s, Iraq attacked Iran, and Iraq was backed by us. So we've had to, we have not really had a good relationship with them. I mean, they used chemical warfare. Yes, chemical warfare was used. If you don't remember 20 years ago, just about 20 years ago, that you had various generals who had served in high-ranking positions go before committees and say, yes, we need to invade Iraq and take down Saddam Hussein. That's what that was all about. Some tubes. Tubes we gave them to make projectiles so we would know the composition and the number we gave them. You know, that's water under a 2005 bridge. But you know, Iraq right now, if you watch Al Jazeera, you're going to get a better, a more unbiased view, because they're there for not just what they call the you know, American viewers, Canadian viewers, European viewers. They're there for the Kurdish, the Sunnis, the Shiites, and all those sects that lie in between each one of them. I liken it to the difference between Baptist, certain Baptist churches, one to the other. There'll be subtle differences in the way they think. I don't understand that, but I do understand that what's getting ready to go on can't be good, because I think they've already made the nuclear weapon. That is Iran. I believe that they've already made at least 7 of them. That's my belief, on my personal belief. And now, and if you go with that as a hypothetical, then you look at the number of missiles, and then you're calculating trajectories, and you've been probing this system that Israel has. We've got the hypotheses that Iran has 7 nukes on warheads, solid propellant, you know, easy to put up, send out, and bam, you're there. Now, if they've got 7, they've been probing the Israel defenses, and they've been putting any of those missiles where they intended for it to go, then they can get a nuke through the same hole. That's the point I'm getting at. Now, whether Trump will get off his thing about, you know, the media's been blowing up about Trump, you know, 2 weeks this, 2 weeks that. I mean, they went through they had a whole montage of here's Donald Trump saying, it'll be about 2 weeks, about 2 weeks, about 2 weeks. I mean, you know how they just run on and get all crazy when, you know, if you just report the facts, then, you know, we understand. You don't have to treat us like we're idiots, is what my point is about the media. They treat us like we're idiots. I mean, they do a montage on Trump saying, it'll be 2 weeks. And then here's another situation. It'll be 2 weeks. And it'll be 2 weeks. I mean, why in the world do they have to go on like that? I mean, it's gotten to where they're trying to take up where Jimmy Kimmel and them leave off. You know, I'm all for the president of the United States, regardless of party, being successful, as long as he is working for the people of the United States of America. I can stand behind him. But, you know, you have to take things and look at things and be objective. You might even ask yourself the question, is the President of the United States making money off of being President of the United States? That's one question. Is the President of the United States making money off of being president of the United States. I mean, a lot of people, you can't get people to talk about politics unless they're enraged. And see, I'm not against Donald Trump. What I am against is anyone who will go against the Constitution. And that's a document for the people. Most people don't even know who the first president of the United States is. And no, it wasn't George Washington. But they don't. It would have been the first president of the Continental Congress. It's exactly who it would have been. And I'll just leave that to you to Google. Who was the first president of the Continental Congress? Do you realize that would have been the first president of the United States, technically speaking? We're talking about the Constitution. Well, it's been a long time since Jimmy Carter was ousted from the White House. I mean, yeah, we went from having a president resign rather than be impeached, and it was pardoned by a man who wasn't even elected president and who had been picked for the vice presidency but hadn't been voted on by the people. He was picked as vice president. Gerald Ford was picked as vice president because Spiro Agnew had committed crimes. And hey, now, how's it going? Yeah, I figured I'd get on here and just run my mouth about Iran, and how, Iran was one of the last ones to hold out. They held their fist and fought back. I was talking about how Iran, after the hostages were released in December of 1979, how we funded Iraq to fight Iran. And that's how they got the missile tubes where George Bush went in and wanted to destroy and used as premise because he said they could be used to house a nuclear weapon. But Iran, their population of people, if you watch a little bit, that you'll realize that those people, they want to know freedom. They want to know freedom. And on Al Jazeera, we are not getting this reporting here in the United States. But Al Jazeera reported that they were willing to give up their nuclear materials if they would just let them have nuclear power. And they say that it's, that that's a no-go. That's our government saying that's a no-go. Well, I mean, if they never can touch the material and you had a United Nations presence there running the facility, say for 99 years, and then after that, since they hadn't tried to steal any of the fissional material, but, or spent material, that after 99 years they could run their own program. There's got to be a way to work this out without having to use, what is it, Moab? Now, that's mother of all bombs. That's not the bunker buster. Okay. Maybe it's MOBB. But anyway, I pretty much made myself clear on where I stand. I think everyone should stand down and let us see. You know, show us you're going to build a nuclear plant. You know, get the Chinese in there. Chinese can make it happen. You know, I was thinking, if we want to do something to get China even with us, the technology China possesses right now, you need to go on YouTube and watch them build a bridge. My God, it is awesome watching those Chinese people and the technology they got. If they bring that over here, and teach us how to do it, we could repair our highway system. We could repair it because we got bridges that are 70 years old, and some of them are older than that. And we got to work something out somehow, because back in the early 90s, it was popular back then. Anytime you listen to a conversation back 30, 35 years ago, when anyone said the word "they said," after that, you didn't think about who said it, but who in the government said it, because they was implied the government, and that's the way it was for. I mean, you can ask older people, and they'll tell you that. But now, it seemed like then everybody wasn't split like they are now. I mean, you've got to want to see other people lose everything that they got to be on one side or the other. Me personally, I'd like to see the rich people paying the tax rate that they would have paid in 1947. If people, the billionaires were to pay the tax rate that it was in 1947 after World War II, we would be in flush in cash in under 20 years. Be flush in cash. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Because the billionaires, and not many people know this, Citizens United was a case, I believe it was 2010 or 2012 that was decided, which gave corporations or any entity the power just to do what they want as far as giving money. And as much as the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, which was ratified in the 1860s, that was to give the black man solidify his rights in society. And they took it so much further as time went on, and then got the corporations' rights mixed into that. And then you've got the executive branch coming into play under the 14th Amendment. It's just, they just took advantage. It was a pretty good time to take advantage, because these states were still out in the cold as far as ratification was concerned, so that went through pretty smooth. Well, I hope you do not want to see this Iranian deal go down. But it's looking like it's going to go down if Israel don't stand down. Y'all take care. See you on the other side.